Talk to us about where you think the next, like if I was a first home buyer now, right, and I wanted to buy in Perth, where would you recommend, from your sales management experience, from seeing the ups and the downs, from being in land, where would you recommend? It doesn't have to be a Progress estate, but just generalize an area.
How we doing? It's Yada Podcast time. We are here to educate, entertain, and lift the lid. My name is Russ, and on the left, I got my boy Aldo Catoldi. On the right, I've got Mr. Charles Liddell. It's another Yada Podcast. Keep it locked.
Do the intro, Charles. Welcome to Yada Podcast.
Yeah.
You're up.
Do you have some theme music to get
We
us
do.
in?
We've got a little intro that we've cut together. So
Nice.
hopefully it'll become infamous soon. We'll see. So yeah. Travis, this has been a little while in the making,
It
hasn't it?
has been. Yeah, it has been indeed.
So
Thanks
thank
for having
you. Yeah, no, thank you for coming along. So for those of you who follow us, we've asked Travis to come in and have a little bit of a chat about Progress himself and some thoughts about the industry in general.
Cheers. Appreciate the opportunity.
So Travis and I have worked together and the same with Aldo for many, many years. And I'm sure I say that a lot, but someone that's really supportive of what we're doing here, and we appreciate more than just the land referrals. we appreciate all the good support that comes along with that. So probably shouldn't say that, but
Edit.
no,
Yeah, edit that one out.
no, all good. Right, so not really sure where we want to get started from, but
Maybe let's do a bit of an intro. So, Travis, tell us a bit about your experience, how you got into the industry, and a bit of experience about your...
Okay. How I got into the industry was interesting in the respects that I was selling new cars, actually.
Wow.
I was, but I actually already had a passion for designing, and I was actually designing homes before I got into the industry. But I was selling new homes, and I was working at Audi, and I was selling
really?
all these really expensive cars to these guys. And I'm like going, "What do you guys do?" And they're like saying, "Oh, we're new homes reps." And I'm like, "Wow, what is this?"
got to do that.
So that's the honest reality, actually, as to how I actually got into the industry. I've got to say, wasn't all rainbows and skittles, so as you would know.
No, sometimes there's
getting
pointy
started.
unicorns in there.
Yeah.
What year did you start? What was your first year starting in the homes industry?
2004.
Wow, okay.
So 18 years ago.
Just
that was
before
actually-
the first grant.
It was the tail end of a boom,
Yeah.
and then kind of, I suppose, a bit reminiscent of where we are now, where things changed, circumstances changed, and it was a kind of a case of you were the last on, so you're the first off. And so then I went through that process of having to look for other opportunities within the industry, but never left it. Just stayed in it.
What transition do you, because obviously, as the viewers don't know yet, obviously you work in land now.
I do
right?
now, yeah.
So what was your transition? Obviously from cars to home sales and then into land. What was the transition like for you from going from, why did you transition and what was it like?
Oh, gosh, okay.
To put you on the spot.
No problems at all.
This is not Oprah, by the way. You can just say,
Yeah, we don't give away houses or cars.
Well, if I start crying or anything,
Yeah.
we'll just edit. No, no, that's okay. To answer the question, I had sold for 7 years.
Yeah.
And I one day was secret shopped.
Okay.
I had someone come through who I didn't know who he was. I was working in a 2-story display home, and I get a phone call from this guy. Says, "Oh, Travis, you don't know me. My name's Ben Traeger.
Okay.
I'm looking at starting a building company, and I'm looking for a sales manager. I just wanted to see if you'd be interested in that." So I transitioned into sales management after 7 years of selling. And then I moved a year later into another sales management role with a small Italian building company.
Yeah.
That was fantastic. And unfortunately, though, they got involved in Class 2 developments and certain apartments and lost a lot of money in that, and they actually ended up going bankrupt. And then I worked with the Dale Alcock Group in a sales management role in a completed home project, which was really exciting. But then when Gary and Dale separated, they transferred me into the land role, which is effectively now Parcel, and I was the land agent at
So that's when they had ABN Realty.
Correct.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. So ABN had their own internal land. That's before Parcel. They used to have a lot of exclusive land. They used to send out land links to all the reps saying this is our blocks, and then they made it. But it was always weird. They had a couple of blocks here, a couple of blocks there. It was never really like full on estates like it is now.
Absolutely. I mean, that business model has grown
it's
exponentially,
fantastic.
and it's fantastic. And
what do you find like in terms of fulfillment? Do you get more fulfillment from land in terms of what you used to do with housing, or do you find you're still involved in the process? Because obviously, like, I'll give you an example. When you create a house for someone, obviously in new home sales, you're kind of changing their life in a way, right?
Yes.
Land, you're still part of that process, but you're a little bit maybe more disconnected because you don't have as much dealings with the client.
It's a really good question, and my answer to that is that I feel like my impact now is more working with sales reps as opposed to the impact that I make with the clients themselves. So, and what I mean by that is after having gone from selling to sales managing to then working in land, I like the partnership. I like the business to business part of the business, and for me, imparting my knowledge to building reps is probably what I actually enjoy the most, and that's what I find the most rewarding. The clients, don't get me wrong. I mean, obviously they're critical, but we just in the land side, you're not as deep. You just don't spend the time with them like you do in the new home side. So.
I think what makes a good land agent, and sorry if I'm blabbering on and taking, I just
told you would do it, didn't I?
But
just put a mic in front of me and
there's certain land agents in Perth that if you call them, not only will they do the best to find you the block you need for your client, but they'll also school you and educate you on what the client needs. And this is what I love about you, not to talk you up too much, but
I appreciate that.
No, but I always know if I give Travis a call, Travis is not only going to give me the block I need for my client, but 100%. Travis is always going to give me an information that I never thought about before, or give me an alternative option that would be better for my client, because Travis has this experience and he's been in the rep's shoes in the past. You 100%. Know what I mean?
And you know that, and that's one of the reasons why we have such a great relationship, is because we really value that level of expertise that you provide, not only us with, but our clients and our reps and those sorts of things. But the consistency of the support is just it's next level stuff. And like Elder said, I mean we really value relationships, because at the end of the day we understand building a house is difficult. Land selection and the issues that come along with that, and the designs that go along with that, are also somewhat challenging. To have someone that's been through it, which you clearly have been through, with the battle scars that you sort of described, also gives us a lot of confidence that we're not just being fed, in a lot of circumstances, just go ahead and buy it and worry about it kind of later kind of scenario, where you're generally invested and like, oh, maybe you should have a look at this, or
Totally so. There really is. There's multiple ways to look at the same lot to provide the best solution for clients, and I just really believe that not all reps are going to have that level of experience to understand that, and I suppose that's what I do enjoy, is imparting that knowledge to help them so that their deals can be easier in the future, and they look at other opportunities that they may not have seen or considered or thought was just too hard.
Yeah, definitely.
You get those blocks that you see, all developers have had them, that sit on the market, and you just kind of go, "What? There's got to be something wrong with this." And yes, there's probably some conditions and issues with it, but there's a cost-effective way to go about providing a solution to that home, which actually will give that lot a competitive advantage, as opposed to it being a hindrance.
Bit of a mentor role, I think. Come up with a nickname for Travis.
Yeah.
Dad of the land.
Dad of the land.
Dad of the land. We'll call him Dad of the land.
He should be creative. He's creative
but
about this one.
Not only is it good to deal with good land agents, but we talk about developers, right? So you're obviously now you worked with Dales, and now you're working with Progress Developments.
Correct.
Tell us a bit about your transition into Progress, and tell us a bit about what's unique about Progress from what you found, because you've had the experience now working with other developers and
I think probably the biggest point of difference with our company is that we're actually a very small team which produces an enormous amount of land, and as a result, I mean, there really is, we have myself, there's another sales colleague, there's my administrator, manager, and my general manager. So there's 4 people there, and then we have an acquisitions manager who just looks after looking for new properties. So just with that, to develop 300 plus lots a year, it's quite incredible. But what it means though is that the clients, if they call up, everyone knows who that person is. We've all sat at the table with the collective company and talked about each of the different deals that are in the system. So, and as a result of that, we also, if clients want to purchase and build with us, we'll work with them. So if they go through circumstances, life changes, situations, we've had clients with workers' compensation issues, these sorts of things. They're not a number to us. We don't assign client numbers to people. They're names. That's the person. And so for us, we know who they are. We know their situations. My administrator knows as intimately as I do each client's personal situation. And so as a result, when they tell us that they've had a passing in the family or whatever the various scenarios that always come up, if they want to proceed, we will find a way to work with them. They're not just 30 days finance, that's it, you're done.
And from experience, I can speak from that, working with you guys. I know that there's certain developers in Perth that you think of, and it's amazing that you said that, because if we think of the biggest developers in Perth, you think of, Satterley, Stockland, Parcel, and Progress, right? Pete as well, right? So to be honest, like, you guys are within that 5 big, and these guys are multinational corporations,
multiple floors.
But you want to talk
phrases as well.
Support and flexibility is just, there's maybe one or two.
Mervac. But let's say there's 7, right? You're playing in that game. You're in the same game. You're in the same league. Yeah. Like, you got this, and in fact, sometimes you even have more developments on the go than they do you know what I mean? You might have like 5 good developments and they might only have 1 or 2.
But this makes an interesting point. So they may have bigger volume, hence why everybody's a number, but you have a lot of diversity in the product.
We do,
and that's one of the really exciting things about working with you, is that we know that not only do you have your flagship lots that you've got up in St Leonard's, and you've always got something new that are under the surface just boiling away.
We do. The beauty is, again, our flexibility, where we'll look at literally a 3-unit development to a 3,000 unit development. It does the size. We don't have a minimum criteria to make it feasible. We know that we can shift these through our network of our building agents. And
But your locations are amazing. Like, let's speak about locations for a sec, right? When I started in the industry in 2012, if you wanted to buy a block in Dayton, right, you went to Progress.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Yep. And if you wanted something unique, for example, if you wanted something, when you guys had, you had something south that was close to, it was the one, it was south of Perth. What was it now?
Well, we've had a few.
So it's the L.
Alana Estate?
Yes.
Alana Estate in Hilbert.
No, it wasn't that one. It was a different one. Anyway, but you can talk about Camillo and stuff like that. You pick really unique areas. So, like, like Hilbert, and then you speak about the one in Camillo. Like, there's not a lot of developments. And you had one in Darch as well. So, like, in areas where there's not a lot of development, but new development potential.
Somehow managed to find something.
Lumen Rise, is that yours?
Yeah, that was, So
that's the one I was thinking of, yeah.
That was Lumia down in, that was in South Coogee.
Coogee, yes.
Coogee,
Like, you can't find land in Coogee.
Lake Coogee, yeah.
Lake Coogee. But, Progress had stuff in Coogee, you know what I mean?
But this is a continual thing, though. Like, you guys seem to hunt out these unique propositions.
Yes.
But that makes an interesting point as well. One of the things that we find really great with the product that you bring to market is the level of, foresight in regards to infrastructure that's coming in. So we've spoken, briefly about, obviously, prime time to talk about the train stations that's been opened up to the airport, and again, all your beautifully placed lots up in Brabham,
absolutely,
Dayton,
and Henley Brook as well,
and Henley Brook, and he's got Henley Brook as well.
Yeah,
there is that.
Yeah, so I mean that obviously that's been a project that's been in on the cards for a long time. It's been an election promise for many sort of cycles. And really, when Progress Developments took on St Leonard's Estate from its former developer, which was Aspen, which actually went closed up, that was always something that was going to be on the cards. We knew that this would be an area that was always going to have great growth and opportunity. And now it's exciting because obviously with the open now of the new train station to it just becomes real. You're starting to feel like it. It just reminds me of seeing the train north and what that did up there, and I think we're going to see the same.
Yeah.
If you think back when the Edinburgh train lines was promised years and years ago, and all these people bought in Brabham, and then they actually lost a bit of money. It's back up now, but you know, now that it's finally happening with the airport link being revealed, we and Sam went up there the other day, and you know, a lot of your states are positioned really good. You know, if we look at the WA economy, right, and we look at where we make our money from, we look at the mining, we look at the FIFO, right? Your estates are positioned in really unique points close to the airport.
Yeah.
You know, you've got Wattle Grove, which is not too far from the airport. You've got Dayton, and then now you've got some upcoming stuff as well that's a bit south, but off topic from the airport.
We've got 2 new estates coming up in Southern River, which we should be releasing sort of hopefully in the next month or so.
Fantastic.
So we've got Sapphire Estate.
Nice.
And there
used to be a club called Sapphire and Subi.
There was.
Do you
remember
just
that?
down the street from here, actually.
Yeah. I thought you.
Now he showed his age.
Then it was named Flawless. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
I'm not admitting to anything more than that. Just stop there.
And the other estate is Accolade Estate. So there are two new estates that we've got coming up in Southern River.
Yep. What do you find? What was the main reasoning? Did you find there was a big demand to go into Southern River? Was it a unique opportunity to acquire those states, or what was the motivation to get in there?
I mean, the demand for that area is huge. There's just the ethnicities that are based there, the cultural religion, the religious faiths that exist in those areas with the Sikh temples
and the mosques
and the mosques there. So that's we're a diversified and nation now, and effectively that they are the people that are looking to expand their families and grow families here. So that Southern River area we expect to be very, very popular.
And it's a great price point as well. I think for people getting into the market as well, like, back in the day, everyone would be like, I want to be in Canningvale and Cannington. And now those people are getting priced out of the market. So if you can find good price land in Southern River these days, and I'm sure you guys, your pricing is always on point, it's market value, but essentially it's really good. It's not overpriced, that's going to be really good for families to get into homes, because affordability is a big thing these days as well.
It's huge. I mean, and I was going to sort of lean on that a little bit more. There's been a lot of challenges that people talk about in the market, particularly currently. Now, given that you've been through, 1 or 2 cycles yourself, what are your views of the current state of play?
It's fairly traditional of the cycles that I've seen and experienced, that I've always considered the Australian economy to be like a seesaw. When the east coast goes up, west typically goes down, and vice versa. So when the east coast goes down, west coast either stays quite, steady, or it actually will go positive. So, with obviously what's happening in the current economic market with interest rate rising, etc., we are unique in the respects we have an enormous shortage on properties and availability of homes. So I think I just can't understand. There's no real metric that would explain that our market should go backwards in the same way that markets that have had such an enormous boom, where average median house prices are over $1 million, etc. I just can't see that we are going to have that same sort of.
No, it's good that you say that as well, because I mean, we say it, but to have someone that has, I guess the scope and the experience that you've got as well to resonate that it's good. Especially when you see articles coming out, front page of the West Australian, 700 new FIFO jobs. We're talking to some colleagues at the moment. The number of people that are looking to migrate and immigrate to just Western Australia,
absolutely,
is staggering. And the media sort of jumps on this negativity hype. And they go, oh, interest rates and this and that. But, it's a normalising market. I know that we say that a lot, but, you can't discount the fact that, record low interest rates and a stimulation package to get people on the bandwagon is obviously going to have an effect. But I think it's just a realisation that, you're going to have to get on now, because the train, if we want to use that term, is definitely leaving the station, and that gap is going to be far greater as time goes on. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I really see that as the reason to be building at the moment, is that it's in your face. The shortage of accommodation is quite obvious, and so to go through this period and to actually build something at the moment, you really are sort of leapfrogging when everyone catches up. The story when you always think about crypto and this sort of stuff. You hop in an Uber, and everyone's telling you got to jump on the bandwagon. When everyone's already doing it, it's at the top.
too late.
What did you do, Eldo?
I bought the dips though at every stage, so I'm still alright. Actually, no, I've lost a lot, but it's fine. I got a bit of a unique kind of random left field question for you.
Go ahead.
So, out of all, well, maybe it's not that left field, but out of all the states that you've done with Progress in particular, what was your favorite, right? A state that you've done, and in terms of current areas in Perth, where do you think the next best area to buy in Perth is? So, previous favorite estate that you've done or current, and then where's the next best area to buy? You think like you can't go wrong.
West Australian company Progress Developments have a vision to leave a positive footprint for the future. They're about to release new land in the popular Chianti private estate, which is located in the established and sought-after suburb of Woodvale.
The Chianti estate is really the last of available land in Woodvale and could be considered infill. The Chianti estate is the latest development by Progress Developments.
Favourite ever was Chianti Estate Woodvale.
I was actually looking at that right now.
Just absolutely.
As we were talking,
I love that estate.
Why? What was good about it?
I think it's typically as an investment perspective, and it kind of leads me into the answer of the second part of your answer, as to being within 20 kilometres of the CBD is just always just a safe investment.
Yeah.
Chianti Estate, 15 or 13 kilometres or something from the CBD. Maybe it was 15.
What's some of the history around Chianti? Can you talk to us a little bit about like how you guys got it, how you acquired
absolutely.
it, like
why was it called
Chianti? The wine, obviously, but like talk to us a bit about
correct,
that.
yeah. It's a good question as to why it was called. It was called Chianti Estate before I actually took it on, so I probably should have found out why it was called Chianti. But
Must have been wine.
Yeah,
have to be. Yeah,
typically there was a lot a lot of wine growing in that area, and there still is.
Old
actually.
Italian land. Some old Italian guys growing his Chianti from Tuscany there.
Correct.
It'd have to be. Yeah,
It'd have to be.
So, but I think what was quite unique about what we did there, so we acquired that. It was another developer, Watson Property Group, that actually had foreclosed.
Yeah.
We acquired the debt from that with the ability then to take on future stages and develop the land. And what we did is we looked at what was really, I suppose, the needed product market. And it really was actually trying to service people that were looking for downsizing. So there's a lot of people that have lived in that area for a long time because it's an established area that want to downsize from their 800-900 metre blocks of land. So
Chianti Estate, just so the viewers know, it was in Woodvale?
Yeah, Woodvale. And I mean, like a big block there was 300 metres. A small block was 168 metres.
It was unique to the area.
Yeah.
Very unique. And it was well priced. I remember when I was working in sales back then, that if you could, find a good block and you wanted a good package in Woodvale, there was nothing there's nothing else there.
Yeah,
right?
And you couldn't compare it to anything. It was quite unique in that respect.
There's still land available there. There's still there's that
little
pockets
that pop up.
Well, no, there's nothing available there. What I mean is there's like empty land there that needs to get developed still. You know what I mean? Or like it's very industrial still, so you've got the car yards there and stuff. And it's one of those areas where it's not too far from the city. So it could be opportunity, buy one of those old car yards and then develop it, We can do a Yada/Progress development there, Talk to us about where you think the next, like if I was a first home buyer now, right, and I wanted to buy in Perth, where would you recommend? From your sales management experience, from seeing the ups and the downs, from being in land, where would you recommend? It doesn't have to be a Progress estate, but just generalize an area.
Okay, good question.
To put you on the spot.
Probably my answer to that would probably be just as close to the city as you possibly can. And it's probably going to likely be little small subdivisions, the type of things that we do pick up where it's 6 lots here, 4 lots there.
Yeah.
I mean, you should ideally try and be close to infrastructure, which is where we always look for our developments, train lines, shopping centres.
What about land size? Would you say be further out and buy a bigger block, or would you say even smaller and get as close as you can? So you're talking 180 squares.
I'm a huge fan of small lot development.
Yeah.
Massive.
Have you not seen what he came in on?
Yeah, it's true.
Let's just remind everybody. Have you ever seen a Maserati
electric
Segway?
scooter?
We'll cut to it after. Like
we're gonna get some Travis zipping down the street on this thing.
Yeah, I'm urban. I'm into. I quite appreciate, and I mean, I developed a 3x2 single story home on 168 meters in Woodvale.
Wow.
Now, you wouldn't think that was possible.
In Chianti.
In Chianti Estate, yeah. So I designed
Beautiful.
a home there and sold that. And as a result, because that's a product that if you stood on the physical dirt, you just could not imagine what could be done on that.
Yeah.
But to build it and put it to market as a completed product, it was a very desirable product. So
so then so basically the answer is be as close as you can to the city. So wherever you can find these kind of small developments. And I remember chatting with Progress a while back when Yada was in its inception, and the main thing that the managing director told me was that any sort of development he can find within close proximity to the city, that even if it's 2 or 3 units, it's a gold mine.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I've noticed that you come up with these developments every now and then.
yeah, we do.
And I think maybe if we can, get some insight into when they're coming out.
Some exclusives,
Well,
maybe.
yeah. we'll do a bit of a podcast release. I think it'll be great because, like you said, like it's not only an investment opportunity for a client. That's great, but it's a really beautiful
It's a great
lifestyle
choice.
Yes.
Yeah,
I think
100%.
you can go too far to the other spectrum where you start looking for blocks in Highgate, Mount Lawley. That's not
what
your
I
first
thought.
home buyer market.
Okay, when
So
you
you've
when you
never-
said small blocks, I thought opposite Hyde Park.
yeah,
That was I was like, yep, opposite Hyde Park. That's actually-
$1.3 million, sure.
there
Yeah,
it goes.
your typical first
Typical
home buyer.
first-time buyer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so you're talking, okay, so then if you're talking first home buyer stuff, so we're talking about those Chianti type areas.
I mean, the sorts of scenarios that likely pop up. I mean, we've got we're constantly looking at acquisition sites, etc., all over the place. But we've got some probably a little bit too early to pop out there yet. But there's some of these 4 and 6 lot developments. The lot sizes will be smaller because the zoning is higher.
Yeah.
And that's the sort of stuff that I think
It's going to be
We just got to start door knocking and going to these like old TAFEs and these old schools and like these old like
where everybody's online now, so they don't need the physical.
These are old nonnas and nonnos that have got these big blocks that just sitting there. Get out of there! Stop.
You're just going to have to rattle that Italian can and go see
Yeah.
who comes out. So I can
That's
help you. I can help you.
Get some land.
Something else. One of the things that we really enjoy with what we're doing here is technology. One of the things that we've obviously spoken about a lot is our industry has not really been affected by any major changes, other than the fact that you might have some energy efficiencies and some new appliances here and there, and maybe some solar panels.
token efforts. Yep.
Yeah,
yep.
and if you look at any other industry, especially the size of the industry, you would have expected to see some innovation, and we just don't seem to see it here. What's your observation or take on that?
I mean, another reason why I do enjoy this job is working with salespeople. Salespeople are very innovative, creative people, always looking for solutions. I feel like at the moment I'm seeing more people like yourselves actually innovating, and it's nice because I think we have missed that. We are an industry that does need more of that. You guys seem to be really leading the charge. I think the way you're trying to go about providing that client service to the client seems to be very unique. Your just everything from your interface with the website and the usability of it, I think is quite innovative. It stands out, and I'm liking this. I'm
We're rejuvenating Travis again. We're bringing up the old home buyer center Travis.
Exactly, I love it. No, it's
Not
good.
2004 Travis.
Well, I'm gonna throw something at you. I love to sort of see all these weird, obscure things that come in and out, and I'll ask you about side hustles because that's one of my favorite little.
go ahead, yeah.
My favorite little topics, but there's a toy company, right? And they originated out of New Zealand, who is currently looking at buying. I think it's like a 2,000 square meter property in Shenzhen or something like that.
Okay.
And they're going to be the company called Zuru. So they do the blow up balloons where you put like 100 balloons on the tap and then you have water bomb fights and those sorts of things. Now their intention is to have a gaming engine design your home. Well, you design your home through a gaming engine, and they will manufacture it and ship it out to you.
Okay.
When you say gaming engine, what do you mean?
So
Like
when
PlayStation?
when you play a game, everything you see on screen, like the 3D components of it,
Like Minecraft? You're talking Minecraft type stuff?
a lot more
2D,
advanced
yeah.
than that. But the idea is that you can use sort of a gaming interface like SimCity and all
Design
of those.
your own home?
Design your own home.
Life size or just
Life
3D?
size. No, this is like this factory will actually manufacture it and ship out the whole thing. For like you pick it tabs,
Flat
all
pack.
that sort. Yeah,
Flat
pretty much.
pack?
Yeah. So I love the concept of technologies and so on and so forth, particularly in our industry.
Well, that's taking innovation to a further extent than what I was envisaging you were going to, but I'm liking it.
So
that's good.
My favourite topic of any of our podcast shows is side hustle.
Okay.
What's your favourite side hustle? You can't say OnlyFans.
No, it's not OnlyFans. No, I don't think I'd quite do well on that. No, designing homes, for me, it always has been a passion, and therefore designing for, again, like I referred to before about the Chianti. I'm currently in the process of designing an inner city 6-unit site.
Oh wow! Okay.
Which I'm looking to fund and develop and sell those as completed homes again.
Wow!
So,
Oh wow, nice.
but I think the generic answer to the question is a good side hustle would be anything that you can do in your spare time that you're passionate about, that you enjoy, and that you can make money out of. If you don't have the passion, I just don't think.
Yeah, it's never going to stick. So it's been great having you here, Travis. It's been amazing. Thank you for all your insights, and again, thank you again for all your support. We look forward to getting you back in again, and hopefully we'll get you back soon.
Absolute pleasure. I think it's exciting what you guys are doing, and I'm a big supporter.